Hey everyone, Adam here's the Wizard Podcast. Got something really cool for you today. Once again, big thanks to the fine folks at Amazon Prime for sending us along more screeners for another original series. This one is billed as a mini-series. It's a spoiler-free review of Daisy Jones and the Six. It's kind of a long title, a little bit of a weird title, doesn't really tell you what's going on. Daisy Jones and the Six, it follows the titular band through their formation all the way through the end of their careers as a band in the 1970s LA music scene. Now, the 1970s, late 60s into 70s, a music scene that I absolutely love. That classic rock to me will never go out of style. And this band, fictional band, fits right in. I guess it's important to say up front is that Daisy Jones and the Six are a fictional band. The whole series is based on a book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, adapted for TV by a slew of talented writers. Miniseries itself, and I love that it's a miniseries. I keep saying that because that means you're going to see the end of it. It's not going to leave on a cliffhanger and then you have to wait a year to follow, which wouldn't really fit the format of the way the show is set up. The show is set up as a documentary crew talking to the members of the bands and the people around them in the 1990s, 20 years on after they broke up. What I like about how they do the documentary format is that it is the bookends of things that happen, but it's not constantly dipping into that. It's not taking you out of the 1970s stories, which is really what we're all there for, to talk to the older actors. It just adds some more context and kind of gives an explanation. It's not faking archival footage to an annoying degree, and it's not trying to pretend it's real history. It's just telling a story of the band. So when you're watching the show as it's set in the 1970s, you're very much just watching a show set in the 1970s, and then you get a little bit of bonus content, it feels like. As far as the story itself goes, while it is a fictional band and it does deal with a lot of the tropes you hear, especially from this era of young bands blowing up and disappearing just as quick, the one-hit wonders, all of that kind of stuff, you really get a sense that these people could have very much been real. And while some of the tropes are things you have heard, they're either done in a new way or done interesting enough that you don't care that you already heard them. Because it's not a 2.5 hour movie, they allow the characters to find each other, the actors to find the characters, and for it to all culminate naturally. And it also gives you this sense that they really worked for it. And I think that is so incredibly important. To talk about the talent it has behind it, I mean, just given the name of it, Daisy Jones and the Six, 7 people in the band, then you got management, then you got, external relationships, family, girlfriends, whatever it is. So I just want to focus on the really far standout ones to me. Sam Claflin as Billy Dunne is one of the leads, maybe the lead, right along with Riley Q, Keough. I apologize for my pronunciation, who plays, obviously, the titular Daisy Jones. These two are excellent. I'm not familiar with Riley Q's work other than this. I have seen Sam Claflin in a lot of things, and I always thought he was pretty good. But this, as far as I'm concerned, might be the height of his career. And I don't mean that as an insult at all. He is outstanding in this. He sells it completely. He sells the era, everything. And the other honorable mention I wanted to give was Tom Wright as Teddy Price, who is the band's manager. Does a great job, and he steps into more roles than just manager, even if it's reluctant, and he just, man, is he good. And even without getting as much screen time as the rest of the band, really sells his role. The way the series is shot, both the documentary style and when you're actually watching the story, are, again, pitch perfect. The documentary feels like a documentary. Maybe not one made in the 90s so much because you are getting the widescreen and the high definition and this and that, but I am fine with that. I don't need another 4:3 grainy recreation to tell me this was not made in the modern era. I can use my imagination to understand what the 1990s were. As far as it being done in the 60s, again, we get the nice widescreen, nice high definition. Everything's crystal clear. There's no sepia filters or dulling down the colors to tell you that it's old. It's not old footage. It's new footage just telling a story set in the past, and it looks great. The camera movements are subtle and interesting, and they keep you connected. They're not doing this weird thing where somebody's facing right, but they're in the bottom right of your screen and the other 90% of your screen isn't taken up. It looks good. It's framed well. It's shot well. A lot of this takes place at night, given you're following a touring rock band, and those scenes look good. I'm never squinting and leaning in trying to figure out what I'm looking at. The picture quality is superb. Along with it being well shot, the era, the 70s era, which is such an iconic era in America, and it looks every bit the part without being too in your face. Something like that can really be overdone, where it feels like things are done just for the sake of doing it. It's never used for laughs, which is a huge pet peeve of mine. It's just the world they live in. The fashion looks great. The cars are great. The way they act is great. The slang even is great without overdoing it. It just really all fits and creates this whole complete picture where you have to remind yourself you're not watching a documentary, you're not watching something about a real band. This is just a very well done fictional story that captures the feel of an era, at least the nostalgia looking back feel of an era I did not live through. Another thing that sells this show is the soundtrack. Of course, it's a show about a band, so the music has to be spot on, but not just the music the band plays. And to give some credit, a lot of the songs were written by Blake Mills, a name I'm unfamiliar with, but maybe someone who's more into music will know, with a lot of collaborations with Marcus Mumford and Jackson Browne. And what I really love about the fake songs written for the band is that the actors perform them. I think that is so exceptional. I think it adds a lot to it. Actors actually performing it, while it can be faked and it has been done convincingly, having the actual actors do it adds a whole new level to me, even if it's not as good as something that someone else might have done. But I see no flaws in this. I'm not the biggest audiophile, I'm not the biggest music head, but it's just outstanding. Their songs aren't even the kind of songs that I would put on my Pandora or something driving around in the summer when I listen to classic rock, with the windows down, all that thing. But they're excellent, and they blend so well with the rest of the soundtrack, which is a great mix of all the songs that you're familiar with. There's songs that you've heard before. You might not even know them by name. Songs I've been listening to for 20 plus years, and as it comes up and you see who the artist is, it's like, I don't even know that name because, like I said, the era of the one-hit wonders. And it all just melds so well together, the real and the creative for the show. I don't even want to call them fake songs. They're very real, legitimate songs, and they're good. It just all blends so well to paint that full picture. If it's not clear by my rambling and my excitement, Daisy Jones and the Six is a 100% recommend for me. It comes out Friday, March 3rd on Amazon Prime. I don't know if it's a week to week or an all at once. I would advise you, even if it does dump all at once, watch one or two and take a couple days in between and let it sink in, because the character development and the emotions and the journey they go on feels a lot better spreading it out. Even with the screeners, I watched the first one and then I watched the second immediately after because I was hooked, and I went to start the third and I actually made myself wait a few days just for that very reason, to let the journey and everything sink in, and also not binging all 8+ hours, whatever it ends up being, with the run times, without binging it all in one go. You do get that feeling that their journey was more than just like, hey, we want to be in a band. Cool, here's a contract. Cool, here's a world tour. Oh, you're all done. Oh, it's too bad. Once again, a big thank you to the fine folks at Amazon Prime for keep sending out these screeners. I love when we get screeners like this that I could really get behind, really excited about. This is a show that actually, if I saw it and heard about it, I might not have put it on my own because it followed a fictitious band. My initial inclination was, why not do the story about a real band? There's plenty of great stories out there, especially in 70s rock. But I would have been completely wrong in this case, because Daisy Jones and the Six is phenomenal. As I said, coming to Amazon Prime Friday, March 3rd. Check it out. Make sure you like and subscribe. We've got a lot more of these, a lot more interviews, new movie coverage, hopefully unboxings if I can get some Iron Studio stuff coming in. All that fun stuff you love coming your way. You're not going to want to miss out. Like, subscribe, bell, do all those things. Make sure you listen to So Is Your Podcast every single week, wherever you get your podcasts. SoIsYourPodcast.com is your resource for reviews, recommendations, videos, merchandise, and more. So Is Your Podcast can also be found on Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you get multiple monthly bonus shows, audio and video. We love hearing feedback, so drop some note in the comments, leave us something on social media. All the accounts will be found after the show and in the show notes. And on a more personal note, a good friend and I have an ongoing comedy comic series. It's called Social Studies. It's a slice of life story about a group of friends navigating all the ridiculousness of high school. We write it like a sitcom and do it in the style of 90s cartoons that we grew up on, love, and inspired us. And actually, the day of this recording, March 1st, issue 10 is coming out with socialstudiescomic.com, Global Comics, or Comixology. Thanks.